We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Second hour of VSiN PrimeTime. We have a lot of ground to cover. No better guy to do it with than Jeff Sherman, who joins us on the Progressive Guest Line. Jeff, it's always good to talk to you. Natural jumping off point is what we were just discussing here on VSiN PrimeTime. The rule changes in the National Football League. The big one, of course, the overtime rules have been shifted. Both teams will get a crack at it because in this year, this day and age, Jeff, everybody's got to get a shot. Everybody needs a participation trophy. We don't need to play defense anymore. Now everybody's got a chance to win. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, last season we had up odds on will there be a tie and will there be under 1.5 ties during the season. And now with these changes, this is a lot more in play. So we're going to have vastly adjusted prices when we put that up this year.
What about overtime totals? Because that's a thing now too, right? You can get 2 touchdowns in overtime now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a lot different now than what we've seen before. And it's going to be a different way of thinking too, and putting it into the handicap.
Did you talk with Ed Salmons, your colleague over there at the Westgate Superbook, about this? And how do you think overtimes are going to play out now? And you do expect more ties, right?
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, each team get a possession, and, you could easily have where a team gets 3 and the other team doesn't want to get the loss, so they take the 3 as the clock's winding down and settle for a tie and such. And, it's going to be interesting to see. But Ed's been a big tie guy, and he counts the ties each season, and he's really looking forward to these new changes to see a lot more ties come to fruition.
Ed's also a Philadelphia Eagles guy. Like me, he had the Eagles on a future. Of course, he had the best number in the world, I think at about 22-1 on Philly to win the Super Bowl. What about Ed's opinion on the tush push, in your opinion? Because that did not get banned, even though that was up for vote today at the NFL meetings.
Well, Ed's an Eagle guy, so he doesn't want to see it get banned. And he even refuses to call it the tush push. He calls it the Eagles play. So it's, he's happy about that part of it, but it's going to go both ways. They're going to revisit this too. And I think eventually it will get banned. I just don't think they did it today, but it's, it's going to get into a different area when they do that, because the way they'll have to implement a new rule, it's going to be more than just that type of play. It's going to be pushing a guy at any point when they're down there. So they're going to have to really word it correctly if they want to get it right, because they're going to see a lot more penalties when players are doing things that they're used to doing.
Jeff, also that happened today, the rule now that the touchback will be at the 35-yard line as opposed to the 30-yard line. How big deal is this? I would assume teams now are going to be forced to kick it into the landing zone, so there'll be more returns. But, hey, starting a drive at the 35 and 2 plays, you're in field goal range from a totals perspective. How impactful is that new rule?
Yeah, it's going to be where these teams are going to have to kick it to the 5-10-yard line. And like you said, let them be returned. So, because you're really going to get penalized putting it out there on the 35. So more returns, and especially with this new setup of the return. So, hopefully it can lead to some more scoring with this. So, it's, if they happen to get it, like you said, in the end zone and they go out to the 35, then they're not too far away right there.
You're not a big fan of the new kickoff?
No, they're just making it way too easy for offenses. And there's more rules we could talk about later in the show. But our game of the night in the association is about to tip off.
Let's get here, Jeff, as we transition to the NBA. The Golden State Warriors, Matt's Warriors. Mine, too. I need another win to get over the win total here. Taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies have been awful. 3 covers over the last 22 games. They fired Jenkins. So first off, here tonight, what's the betting been like before I follow up? Total of 238.5. The Warriors favored by 3.5 or 4.
Yeah, we've taken a nothing but sharp play on Memphis, starting at plus 5.5, and now some 3.5s even showing up. And I was a little bit late to the party on this. I took some plus 4 on Memphis, and they just came off a loss last night to Boston, and they lost on Saturday to the Lakers. But a little bit of a tough stretch. But they really need to find their footing here and get going, because they're in danger of slipping even more in the playoff standings. And it's a big game right here. So I think it's a generous amount of points for Memphis, even though it's a back-to-back for them.
Jeff, where do you stand on Taylor Jenkins, former coach now for the Memphis Grizzlies? Where'd you have him in your pecking order of coaches? Were you surprised by the move?
I was very surprised. I mean, I've always respected him and what he's done and gotten his team over the past few seasons through the injuries that they've endured, because it's been a lot. I mean, Morant's missed a lot of time, and I've always thought that they've overachieved for what they've been dealt dealing with the injuries. Obviously, there was a lot more to it as far as the staff that was brought in by the front office. And it sounded like it wasn't really his fault. It was a front office decision that just wanted to go a different direction because of who that they wanted in there. So he's going to be a top coaching candidate for the vacancies that come around this next season. That's
why I thought it's surprising, and it's unfair to tag Taylor Jenkins for the problems when you got a guy like Ja Morant who misses so many games.
58% of his games he's played in since his rookie year.
That's crazy. Yeah. And you're going to pin it on the coach because the team is underachieved. As we're speaking right now, Circa just dropped from 4 to 3.5 on Golden State. Jeff, the Grizzlies have not defeated a winning team in 2 months, 0-11 in that span. Do you think the coaching change is going to help them at all?
I thought it would have. I mean, I took them against the Lakers on that Saturday night game, because usually I like to back a team when they go through a coaching change in that first game. In their first couple games, it's been a little rough going, but I'm on them here, and I think when they get this stuff sorted out, and if they can just stay healthy, they're going to be someone I don't think many teams will want to see come playoff time, because just a couple months ago, health-wise, I thought they're going to be someone that can make some noise and obviously upset some teams. So I think that they're going to be a problem for some teams in the playoffs, as long as they don't have to keep going through the injuries that they have been.
Jeff Sherman with us, looking at the association, some of the big news, and, of course, looking ahead to later this evening. Also tonight, Minnesota and Denver. We do have some questions on the injury report for these teams, specifically for the Denver Nuggets, and whether or not we're going to get the likes of Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray out there. But what do you make of this? Did you have anything here? 3.5 the spread with a total of 232.
Yeah, I laid a little bit of Denver -3, and we got the suspensions to a couple Minnesota players, Naz Reid and DiVincenzo. And, this is a spot I thought going in even before the suspensions that Denver has really struggled against Minnesota. Minnesota's beat them 14 out of the last 21 times that they've played, and they've really had their number. And I think this was a proving point game for Denver, just to not let Minnesota keep owning them like they had been. So I like the spot here for them, and hopefully the Murray and Gordon can play. But it's especially with the suspensions to Minnesota. I mean, Naz Reid is a big one. I mean, he's been like the lifeblood of that team from an energy standpoint. So I have a lean to Denver on this one.
All right, what about that's about to get started in 3 minutes as well with Golden State and Memphis? In this time of year, Jeff, you always get talked about, hey, these tanking teams, what do we do? How do we gauge them? What in the world have you done with Toronto and Chicago, two of the best bet-on teams in the league over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, they're really making that push. Toronto hasn't given up for that playoff spot, even though they're 5 games out of it. But, it's they're both playing off the season the right way here. And, Chicago, they've beaten my Lakers twice in a week. And, one was an interesting ending, but they've been playing some great ball. And Josh Giddey's been playing great. And it's just they've been really playing well for the last couple months. So I don't think they're well enough to do any noise when they get to the play-in round and potentially the playoffs, but definitely a better direction they're going right now than they had at the start of the season.
You see the way he softened that blow, Matt? Interesting ending for the Bulls-Lakers game.
That's one of the craziest endings in an NBA game I've seen in a long time. Jeff Sherman, NBA and golf odds maker at the Westgate Superbook with us. Follow him at Golf Odds. Jeff, have you circled Thursday's game on your calendar, Bucks at 76ers?
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for that one. They moved that one from TNT, didn't they?
I was going to say, how do you bet against the Sixers? Because the numbers are so inflated. Is there a way you can bet against the Sixers every day?
Well, I've been doing it in their home games because the numbers are not too egregious with the teams on the road. Like I laid Toronto the other day. I laid 4 and a closed 6.5. So you can get some numbers in the games in Philadelphia that are layable, and they're just not even coming close to them. They're losing these games by 15 to 20 points. So, I'm not looking to be involved in a game like tonight in New York where you're laying 13 or 14, but you can get some softer numbers when they're playing the games in Philly.
Sixers have lost 8 in a row. Really thought they were going to get it turned around, JVT, when Paul George gave up the podcast.
And then he was ruled out for the season 2 weeks later.
Hey, Jeff, I read this tweet this morning. I thought about you. I'm sure you quickly sprung into action. Here it is, quote, "I can't believe I am saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber plus the explosive lifts, my doctors and trainers have made me ready to play the Masters next week. Can't wait. See y'all on the course." That came from Tiger Woods. Did you throw up Tiger Woods' odds to win the Masters as soon as you saw that tweet this morning?
Oh, yeah, I was going to get him up for all 4 majors and the Grand Slam and everything. So, no, within a half a second, you can tell that was April Fool's right there. I mean, it's we've already refunded his action for the 4 upcoming majors, so he won't even be back for the Open Championship. It's not happening this year, and definitely wasn't happening next week.
Yeah, it was one of the lamest April Fool's joke tweets I've seen in quite a while from Tiger Woods. But anyway, Jeff, give us a quick, in the last 45 seconds, what you're looking forward to this week and the final tune-up for the Masters.
Yeah, I'm on a couple, guys. Denny McCarthy at 30-1. He's been playing well, done well here. And Sam Stevens at 55-1. And got involved with a couple matchups. I played McCarthy minus 125 against Daniel Berger, Ben Griffin minus 140 against Harry Hall, and Bo Hossler minus 140 against Cameron Young, who cannot find his game right now. I'm always looking to fade Cameron Young, and anything with Max Homa too. Those two are really struggling right now.
Jeff Sherman over there at the Westgate, also somebody who sleeps in the hyperbaric chamber. Jeff, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Actually, he also does the explosive lifts.
I'm sure he does too, yeah. Speaking of explosive, the Yankees. Another bomb, Anthony Volpe. It's 2-2, bottom of the 4th inning.
Torpedoed that thing.
Coming up at 15.
How about the Yankees?
We're going to get college play-by-play voice Tim Brando to join the show.
I believe we are, because the college basketball crowd's a big event. I'll talk about a play I've got on it next.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Got a lot of shout-outs to get to. We are underway in our game of the night. We're monitoring Golden State versus Memphis in the association. You need these Warriors to keep winning, to solidify their playoff chances. I need the Warriors to just win this game. They are 1 win away from solidifying the over on their win total. One of my favorite win total bets. The Hornets were another one. And we can get this thing done. Come on. It's actually shaping up to be a good win total season for me, Matt Youmans. The Warriors would be a nice addition.
Let's get there.
Yep.
Warriors are off their season high scoring output, 148 points in San Antonio a couple nights ago. That was a game in which Stephen Curry scored only 13.
This is a balanced team.
Yeah, hey, that's a good sign when he puts up that low number and the Warriors put up 148. Hopefully they can do it tonight. Every game important here down the stretch in this playoff race. And not many games to go. Warriors don't have an easy schedule down the stretch either.
No, they do not. Previous possession, an electric cut to the basket by one John Morant. The layup is up and good, 11-10. Memphis up on top. I got confused for a second because with the athleticism and the explosiveness, I thought I saw Paul Bovey exploding to the basket there for the Memphis
Paul
Grizzlies.
Bovey. Glad you brought up his name. Shout out to Paul Bovey, our friend. He was in the Circuit Friday Football Invitational Pro Better. And Paul is at the Cleveland Clinic. And I should say the Cleveland Hair Loss Clinic, to be more specific, trying to figure out why he can't grow any hair anywhere on his body except for that little patch he's got up on top of his head.
Okay.
No hair on his arms, legs. Trying to get this solved. It's a great mystery, but he is, right now, he's going to be at the Cavs game tomorrow night, but tonight he's at the Cleveland Hair Loss Clinic. Yeah.
Oh, that's it? I thought there was like more to that.
No.
Okay, all right. Shout out, Paul.
He's watching the show. He wanted to say hi to JVT and tell us what he's up to and why he's in Cleveland.
You know, I'm proud to say that Paul Bovey and Chris Massaro have become, dare I say, friends of mine over this season. It's been a very fun time.
But they're not friends with each other.
No, bitter rivals. And I've seen the action in person. I mentioned we had a couple of people to shout out. We do respond, of course, up on social media at X, at me, JVT, I'm at Youmans 24/7 at VSiN Live. Paul Nelson, we were talking about the torpedo bats and the effectiveness. Bronx Bombers have 2 bombs already. It's a 2-2 game, bottom of the 4th inning. Paul Nelson checks in, says, maybe it's the pitching. De La Cruz, 0 for 2 tonight. Nathan Eovaldi is a 1-hitter through 5. Yeah, I think that's probably it. As we pointed out over the weekend, you could say it was the bats, or you could say they were facing Nestor Cortez. Don't know if it has anything to do with the bats. And I think at least one of the home runs we saw was not courtesy of a torpedo bat today in the Bronx.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a small sample size. We're going to have to watch this a little bit longer, but I think Nestor Cortez's pitching had a lot to do with it. And the fact he was serving up meatballs.
Yes.
First 3 pitches, home runs, and Aaron Judge was not using the torpedo bat, so you can't blame that.
Did you know that was the first time in the pitch clock era, not pitch clock era, excuse me, the pitch tracking era, so pitch count, excuse me. But since they started tracking pitch count, that was the first time that the first 3 pitches went yard.
Yeah, I knew that.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I figured baseball. It's like it's always something. This is the first time in history this happened. I figured that had happened already. I guess not. I also wanted to point out that Jay at Touchdown Jesus checks in, says, I haven't heard it asked if a team with the ball in the first overtime or with the ball first in overtime bleeds the entire clock, kicks a field goal or touchdown with no time remaining. Does the second team get an untimed possession?
Great question. Is it going to be untimed? I don't know. I would assume it is. But don't you reward the team that got the ball first for bleeding the entire clock and running a 10-minute possession? Which is extremely hard to do.
It's extremely hard to do. I would assume
How about
at that
if you
point,
run 9.5 minutes and the other team only gets, 30 seconds to work with?
Yeah, that should be it.
Yeah.
It's your rule. You should do it. He also says, to that point, couldn't a team with the ball first bleed until there's like 5 seconds left and then score? Theoretically, yes. Now, touched 10-minute, 7.5-minute, 9-minute touchdown and or scoring drives are easier said than done. The rarity is very, very high. It's not going to happen very often.
Let's not bring the numbers into it.
Well, that was one of my favorite moments earlier today. There was also the other thing I complained about. I was filling in on Raider Nation Radio here locally this morning, and one of the Raiders beat writers, Vinny Bonsignor, very big proponent of in fact, actually here locally, we simulcast on Raider Nation Radio when they are not on the air, and I brought up the fact that I hate this new overtime rule. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I think it's stupid that these people complain about everybody needs a crack at it when all you do is remember one game. It was the Chiefs-Bills game. The reality is that this is a thing that does not happen. I went back through 2021, 65 times we have gone to overtime. 14 games have been decided on the opening drive of overtime. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's not a problem, and yet people have decided this stupid narrative that it is. So Vinny brought up the fact that he enjoys this. This is the way it should be. I don't want my games decided by a coin toss. To which I responded with the statistics that I just threw at you. His response was to say, you don't need to bring numbers into this. Which is kind of his part. He admits in that like, I kind of didn't think about that.
Hey. Why bring facts into the story?
Malicious facts, as some would say.
Can you argue something without facts?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, please.
It does annoy me though. I mean, because Florio had it in his piece today, where at the bottom he says winners last year in overtime of the coin toss went 12-4, and you're like, wow,
okay,
maybe you do have a problem. And then you read the fine print, which is only 37.5% of overtime games were decided with an opening touchdown. It's like, okay, well that's 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we doing? It's not a problem at all. So. It annoys me, but it's already passed, so whatever. But I am surprised by the amount of people that were all gung-ho about this. It needs to happen. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about starting the possession at the 35-yard line.
This one
I'm old enough to remember when you would start a possession at the 20.
Sure.
And now you're going to push the ball halfway out to midfield. I don't know about this. I know it's trying to encourage more kickoff returns, like you said, but I don't know. 35's a little extreme, man.
This one I don't hate too much because, again, 35 is extreme, and it's so extreme that it incentivizes these teams to absolutely kick off. So I know we were talking a lot about last year. That was a big thing that Mitch and Paul were doing, right? The opening kickoff, touchback, yes, no. That's going to be pretty fascinating if those things are hung up, because the yes prices on the will there be a kickoff return on the opening kickoff should be astronomical, because you're not going to, as a team, willingly give up the 35. In two first downs, you're in field goal range with an adequate NFL kicker.
I wish we could go back to the kickoff the way it used to be, JBT. I liked it in the old days.
Kind of play. I don't mind the new format at all. We'll see what the 35. There's more information. We want more information, so we'll see. I don't mind the, essentially, as I keep calling it, the giant run play. They also changed the format at which you could stack your guys up, I believe, at the line when you're talking about it. So one of the many rule changes here. Also very disappointed. Lost in all of this. So they're going to push the tush push thing back to May, which they'll do it again. They also pushed back the Lions reseeding proposal, which I was a very big fan of.
I was too. I replied to Adam Schefter's tweet about this today. I liked the Lions' idea and the effort to go ahead and explain the rule, because I'm going to talk about this college basketball play I got coming up here real quick.
Just the proposed rule was the fact that, just like the NBA, winning your division just gets you in. It does not guarantee you seeding. Remember, the NBA used to be like that, where you win your division, you'd be a top 3 seed, but they went back to a reseeding format where you just get in and then you're seeded by your record. Same thing here. Winning your division would just get you in, so we don't get a scenario where Vikings and Lions, a 15-win team.
Idea. I thought you were talking about the automatic first down on defensive holding.
No, the reseeding. So that the reseeding one was that. And then you don't get a scenario where the Vikings and the Lions are playing for either the 1 seed or a wild card road game, which is absolutely ridiculous when both are sitting on 14 wins. And maybe I misspoke. Maybe it wasn't the Lions who proposed that. I thought they proposed that one.
The one about the automatic first down on defensive holding.
Yes, they did.
And so they might have proposed both of them. That's why I thought. Anyway, quick mention here before we get to the end of the segment. We got a game coming up here at 5:30. Colorado-Villanova, college basketball crown at MGM Grand Garden. I was on the show this morning with Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis. I mentioned this number. Fishy. Villanova, 3.5-point favorite against Colorado. I thought the number should have been more like 6 or 6.5, but Eric Dixon, the Big East leading scorer, 23 points a game, 42% from 3. Dixon is going to play for Villanova in this game tonight, because you have to keep an eye on the transfer portal guys. And even though Utah had several players in the portal, they did play in the game for the Utes yesterday in this tournament. Eric Dixon is going to play for Villanova. It's a Nova team, went 11-9 in the Big East, beat St. John's, UConn, and Marquette. Mike Nardi, the assistant coach, is going to take over for Kyle Neptune. I don't think that's a downgrade necessarily. Nova's facing a Colorado team here that went 3-17 in the Big 12, but here's the key to the handicap. Julian Hammond, the point guard, senior guard, leading scorer, 12.5 points a game, is out with a back injury. And this is a Colorado team that shoots 32% from 3. 3-17 in league. Leading scorer is out, and a poor shooting team. I thought the number was light on Villanova. Now it's up to pretty much 5 at all spots, 3.5 overnight. At this point, I think you could also moneyline parlay Villanova and USC, because I do like USC -8 over Tulane in the late game tonight as well. We're out of time.
Yes, we are. 4-2 Yankees up on top of the Arizona Diamondbacks. It is not courtesy, don't worry, of a dinger. Osvaldo Cabrera, I believe, reaches on error to score, and they lead by 2 runs at the end of the 4th inning. 25-18, Warriors up on top in our game of the night. We got more college hoops on the other side as we have for one Tim Brando, play-by-play voice. VSiN.com/subscribe, $9.99.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A 23-7 run for the Golden State Warriors right now over the Memphis Grizzlies. They are currently up on top, 33-21. That is a 3 that goes down for Memphis to cut into the deficit. Steph Curry, in 9 minutes so far, you're going to like this, 16 points on 6 of 7 shooting, 4 of 5 from three-point range for one Stephen Curry to go with 4 rebounds and 3 assists and 2 steals. So Curry is all over it right now, and the Warriors have a 14-point lead, 2:47 left to go in the first. That is our game of the night, monitoring what's going to happen there. Matt needs Warriors to continue to win. I just need a win so they can get over their win total this evening. All right, with that, I wanted to update one more thing, and I'll tie this into the big picture. Angels are up on top right now in their matchup with the St. Louis Cardinals. 3-1, bottom of the third inning. So far, so good for Kyle Hendricks. 2 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout. That does not surprise anybody. Liberatore, 3 innings and 3 earned runs to his ledger. But I wanted to bring this up to you. I made an impulse wager on a long shot the other day, Matt Youmans.
Mm-hmm.
I sat back and I watched Jose Soriano wheel and deal against the Chicago White Sox. And I'm like, you know what? This kid's got it. Give me 250-1 on Cy Young. Didn't give up an earned run, 180 expected ERA in the start. But more importantly, he's a guy that's been improving. Short career so far. This is just his third year in the bigs. Had 42 innings pitched in his first, and a declining ERA and advanced metrics throughout. FIP in his rookie season, 397. Last year, 380. Dare we say that Soriano could be an ace in the making? Probably not. But 251 on Soriano to win Cy Young. Let's go.
Why not? With those type of odds, take a shot.
Yep.
You don't want to regret it later if he's in position to maybe win that award and you passed on the bet. All right, we have Tim Brando on the line.
Yes, we do. On the Progressive Guest Line, Tim Brando is with us. Tim, we appreciate the time. So how you feeling? What are you doing? Are you watching some college basketball tonight?
Well, yes, I will, but I've been calling some college basketball today. I just finished with an outstanding game between Oregon State and UCF. Came down to the last possession, and the first one was a bit of a blowout, but those things are going to happen. Cincinnati looks awfully good, and they're going to play UCF tomorrow on Thursday, and that'll be a great quarterfinal matchup. So I think the inaugural crown is going to be a very, very successful venture on the part of Fox, and I'm really happy that they asked me to help tip it off for them.
Yeah, I watched the game you called yesterday. Boise State, an 8-point favorite, won by 30 against George Washington.
Yeah.
Today, Central Florida, 76-75 over Oregon State. Actually, the basketball's been really good out there, I think, in the first 2 days of this college basketball crown tournament at MGM Grand Garden. Tim, can you kind of explain why you think this tournament's going to be a good thing, and what's the atmosphere like out there? Because I've heard different tales from people that the arena is kind of empty, it's kind of dead, even though I thought last night it looked pretty good.
Yeah, last night. Well, it's Monday and Tuesday at daytime, and we're in Las Vegas. I never expected the crowds to be great, and frankly, those that took shots. People take shots on social media about anything and everything, but I'm here to tell you, after all my years doing NCAA tournament first rounds, I've been in buildings just as vacant, or maybe even more so, in larger arenas for first round games. Back in the old days when they had the pod system in play, and they never necessarily took into consideration where teams were, or giving teams that were higher seeds games that were closer to home. We had some really vacant arenas years ago. So the thing is built for 2 reasons. One, to give the players and the coaches an opportunity to have a postseason that didn't get in the dance, and particularly those that are in marquee conferences, which we had out of our 16 teams, just about all of them, with the exception of, if you want to say, Oregon State's now West Coast Conference in basketball, now that the Pac-12 blew up, everybody's pretty much Big 12, Big 10, or Big East. The fact that Villanova with Eric Dixon is about to play, and Mike Nardi is getting an opportunity to, in his own right, to audition for maybe a coaching job elsewhere, with Kevin Willard having taken the job after Kyle Neptune's firing. There are a lot of storylines, and the portal, which made it somewhat difficult to do your homework. I went out at Coronado Hills High School. I was out at practices on Sunday and met with 6 different coaches at SIDs, and it had been reported a lot of these guys were in the portal, so you thought they weren't going to play, and many of them did play. And some of the leaders for some of the teams that won today, like UCF, for instance, got quality play out of guys that are looking to go elsewhere. But that's why players want to play, even if they're making choices and decisions to be in the transfer portal. A lot of the international players maybe got some bad information and thought if they played, that maybe they wouldn't get in on the revenue sharing, and that rev sharing thing is something that is not really affecting anyone. So a lot of the coaches want their players to have the chance to play, even though they're in the portal. And Johnny Dawkins was fine with that. So the other reason it was designed was to give college basketball a chance to have live games during a time in which the Final Four is set, but we have no games to see until Saturday. This is kind of a dormant week in a lot of respects, unless you're a fan of a team in the NIT or a fan of one of these teams. But the bottom line is live games are live games. And for television's sake, how few people are in the stands means absolutely nothing about, the business decision or the blueprint for putting these games on the air. I think the ratings on them will be surprisingly good. And when I say good, if over in college basketball, Matt, if you've got over 1 million to 1.5 million viewers, which sounds like a paltry sum, but if you have 1 million to 1.5 million viewers on cable television on a weekday, that's about, I'd say 5 times the amount of people that watch First Take or watch any of those shows on cable television. So it's a good business decision on the part of Fox, and I'm really happy that they asked me to be a part of it.
I know a lot of people were watching those games and betting the games yesterday, and we were here last night in Sorka Resort and Casino is one of the partners helping promote this event, the College Basketball Crown at MGM Grand Arena. And, Tim, Colorado-Villanova about to tip off. You said Eric Dixon, the Big East leading scorer, is going to play for Villanova tonight. USC, Eric Musselman, an 8-point favorite against Tulane. Tomorrow we got Butler and Boise State and Nebraska and Georgetown. Can you kind of handicap the field for us here? Do you think Villanova? Do you like Boise State? Who do you think is the strongest team in the field?
Well, I think Villanova is here for a purpose, and they've got veteran guys out there that want to send a message. The fact that Eric Dixon is playing speaks volumes about the culture at Villanova, that even with a coaching change with Cal Neptune out, Villanova is still Villanova. And, there'll be some people that might say that from a professional standpoint, Eric could only hurt himself, right, in terms of being a draft pick by playing and not performing at a high level. But that's not how he views it. I think he views it as a chance to wear the uniform again, and that matters to him, which I think is good. It sounds cliche, but I definitely think it plays a role. And Villanova being a veteran team means they don't want to play their last game. So I like Villanova against Colorado. I do. And I think the same is true with Nebraska. Nebraska was an NCAA tournament team that brought back a veteran club that back in January looked really good, beat UCLA at home, then beat Illinois on the road, and then hit the skids. Could not get a win on the road in the Big Ten and didn't even get into the Big Ten tournament. So they've been without basketball at Nebraska for a long time. They didn't even play in their conference tournament. So what we've seen is a little bit of rust with some of these guys because they haven't been in live game action in 3 weeks if they were in a conference tournament, and then over a month if they weren't, like Nebraska. But Nebraska, to me, because of the veteran leadership that they have, is a team that I'd keep an eye on. Boise State is the most complete team in this field. They're my favorite to win it. Talk about cultures. Leon Rice has got one. You can make a great case that his team deserved to go out of the Mountain West, more so than Utah State, I should say. Utah State had a better metric system on their side because they lacked the quad one wins that you really want to have. And that was a problem for, I think, the committee. But, I mean, they were 44th in the net and won 24 games in a Mountain West Conference. As you know, it's a multiple bid league every year. So I think they're really good, and I would favor them in the game with Butler. Butler is, they're doing everything they can, but they don't have the depth in my mind to stay with that team. So I like Boise State marching on. And if there's another team that's got a lot going for it, it's Cincinnati. They got a lot of athletes. They were ranked as high as number 14 in the country at one time. They were preseason number 20, and they've got enough guys, portal or no portal, that can really sky and get the job done. And that's a very athletic team that Wes has there. Wes Miller's done a really good job with that program.
Cincinnati with a blowout win against DePaul. Tim, can you hold on? I want to get your thoughts on the Final Four.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to you as soon as we get out of the break.
We have to take a quick break. JVT, you got a score update in the Golden State game?
Yeah, they're kicking their butt. That's all you need to know. Warriors have dropped over 40 points in the first quarter. They lead over Memphis 45-32.
With so many options, Why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A couple of updates for you before we get back to the progressive guest line. Welcome back in, one Tim Brando. Got a couple of games in the NBA worth updating here. First off, tight one between the Portland Trailblazers and the Atlanta Hawks. This matters because the market was in on Portland. So far, so good. 57-54 Trailblazers up on top on the road against Atlanta. Warriors led by quite a bit, but good second quarter start for Memphis. This is 52-42 with 8:49 left to go in the second. Very high total here, about 237.5 at the close. We'll let you know if it's on pace to go over the number. And in Major League Baseball, the game that we are monitoring, of course, because these are two contenders in their respective leagues, New York and Arizona. Yankees up on top 4-2, bottom of the fifth. They have a runner in scoring position. It's a litany of games underway in Major League Baseball, but that is the most impactful of the ones that are in play.
All right, let's go back out to the progressive guest line. Tim Brando, he's calling the games for Fox Sports. College basketball crown right now, Villanova on top of Colorado, 15-10 early in that one. We got another one later tonight with Tulane and USC. Tim, how about your thoughts on the NCAA tournament to this point? 4 number 1 seeds reaching the Final Four for only the second time ever. Some of the observations you made in the tournament and how you think the Final Four is going to play out.
Other than my miss on Florida, which I thought St. John's would have the bracket cleared for them with a loss by Florida to Connecticut, which almost happened. My brackets could have been perfect. I mean, they really could have been, but Connecticut couldn't finish the job. They had the game right where they wanted it, but Alex Caravan just had a poor shooting game. The entire UConn team had a bad shooting game, but they did everything else that they needed to do to beat Florida. And then lo and behold, look what happened with Texas Tech. Texas Tech was going to play the role of St. John's, as it turned out. I mean, you think about it, they could have been that team. I mean, I thought McCaslin, they did a great job. The Red Raiders did, and just couldn't finish it. Just could not quite finish it. But you got to give Golden credit. Florida had played the best basketball of anyone in the country the last 3 weeks of the season, including obviously in the SEC tournament. But I liked Auburn from the jump, and I still do. That's who I've got cutting down the nets. I had them playing in the championship game and winning it against Houston. And Houston, certainly, Kelvin Sampson just is such a tremendous defensive coach. And I wasn't surprised at all that they were able to get the job done against a really tough-minded defensive Tennessee team. But, Tennessee was a club that had a great matchup advantage playing a third time against Kentucky. So
right.
I think Houston is really the goods, and I think that's a team that can perform really well and get there. I think they can get Duke. I do. I think that's the one team that I think can really stifle what Duke likes to do. And I know on paper Duke, and obviously without question, I'm sure they are the favorite nationally and from a betting standpoint. But I just think it's about matchups, and the matchup from Houston's perspective, I think, is good enough that they can stifle that team that looked unbeatable in their region. I think it's all about matchups. Sometimes we can be fooled by a level of domination in certain matchups, and they had a good draw to start with. I thought they had the easiest draw to get to the Final Four, and I wasn't surprised that they made it. I think Houston's a team that can beat them.
All right, yeah, right now Duke about even money to win the championship, Florida 3-1, Houston 4-1, Auburn 5-1. So, Tim, you think Monday night we're going to see Auburn, Houston? You going to call for that?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, and I like Auburn. because the issues that I think that Houston will have, even though they can slow down the game, Auburn is a team that's won a lot of rock fights this year. You know, they don't have to shoot a high percentage to win. Bruce Pearl and that team have proven through the course of the year. I think that's why they were number one for the bulk of the season. You know, Duke got hot late and overtook them nationally because Duke is Duke. As Pete Gillen used to say, Duke is Duke. They've got McDonald's All-Americans. We eat at McDonald's, all that. Yeah. But the truth is, this is a Auburn team that has so many out pitches, and it's not just about Janai Broome, but Broome is a guy that you when he doesn't want to be stopped, he's not stopped. And I think that, you know, he's going to be the most outstanding player. And I think all of the hype on Cooper Flagg as the player of the year is only going to, and Bruce Pearl's going to work that mentally on his team going into San Antonio. And they're going to play with a vengeance in this tournament. And it's not like they haven't been there. I think coaching matters when you get this deep into the tournament. And this isn't to say that John Shire's not done a hell of a job. And if Duke wins the national title, I'm not going to be surprised if they win it. But I just believe in a game of matchups, I like Auburn and I really like Houston in those two games. And again, it's just, I've always had that belief about NCAA tournaments, and when I've done my brackets in the past, I've won a couple in my day. I'm not going to win this year, but I was awfully close to being right. I really was.
Tim, you're a smart man, and even smarter because that is also the result of my national championship game, Auburn over Houston. We appreciate some time today, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, happy to do it. Great to be with both of you. And Matt, be sure to tell the big dog, Brent, that I said hello the next time you talk to him up in Montana.
Will do. Hopefully he's watching at home tonight.
Yep. Tim Brando again, play-by-play voice. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Bye-bye, fellas.
Smart guy right there.
You guys got the same championship game Monday night.
They do.
Do you think Paul Stone's watching and he knows who you're going to pick now?
No. You never. Do we have that? The last couple of minutes, can we throw these up?
Yeah, throw up the Circuit College Hoops Challenge standings. And JVT last week we were saying Paul Stone was 95% to win.
No. Huh? Don't put that evil on me. You were saying Paul Stone was 95% chance.
Not you, but me and others were others agreed 95% to win. Right now he's got a 2-point lead on you. Paul 28-18-1. You were 26-19-2. Paul 6-1-1 on the best bets, which were worth 1.5 for a win. You were 5-3. So it's Paul Stone, JVT, Tim Murray, Will Hill, me, Aaron Moore, David Deneen, Ken Thompson, Ron Boyles, Chris Massero, Wes Reynolds, right there in the top 11.
You know, as we go back,
15 handicappers. Yep.
We go back throughout the course of this tournament. I just say that, you know, as somebody who was the only one to suffer bad beats throughout the course of this tournament, had I had my two results in hand, I'd have an extra 1.5 points, Matt, and I'd only be down by a half point right now.
Wow. What's that?
If only, at the very least, if Gonzaga hadn't pushed, if they have forced that push against Houston, man, that would have been great. But either way, still got some life here down the stretch. So really,
you still got a shot. I mean, you got to hope that none of your plays match up with Paul Stone's plays.
That, or if they do, got to hope that, like, I have one as the best bet and he does not, so he can at least gain a half point. It's going to be hard because obviously there are few selections.
You're down 2 points with 3 plays left.
Yes, and obviously side or total. So there's not many places for me to land at which Paul Stone will not. So I am very interested to see. Hey, look, VSiN's a great spot. Paul, if you want to come on VSiN anytime during the week and you want to share your knowledge with anybody on the network, I'll be down to listen.
I think he's got a podcast. Have you listened to his podcast?
Oh, that's a good point.
Do your
Paul
homework.
Stone podcast. That's right.
Go to the Paul Stone Sports Podcast. I'm sure he's expressed his thoughts on there.
How much is this voucher worth to you, Paul? Will you mask your true intentions throughout the week?
I look at it this way. You got to hold off Tim Murray for second, too, because you're going to win either way. You're going to get the Barry's dinner for $1,000. Circa, you're going to get the Stadium Swim Cabana for $1,000. Or you get the $200 gift card to Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Bar, where you can take your whole family.
That's right.
And you had the best ever what?
Chicken parm.
That's right. 2 weeks ago.
I have a what? Can we throw this back up real quick? I think I have a 1.5 point cushion on Tim.
Yeah, 1.5 points up on Tim Murray, 29.5 to 28.
Hey, yes. I'll just say this, okay? It's my first year in the contest. I very much did not want to embarrass myself. That was my whole point. And I am very glad I did not. And I will also say I am proud of myself because, as you referenced, I did not give up. I was the one that told you, no. Come on now. I'm going to catch up with Paul Stone. I'm going to make this a thing. And you didn't believe in me.
I had to give you something to...
No, you had to motivate me. Is that what it was?
You have to have haters out there.
That's very
doubters.
true.
You have to have doubters, right? That's fuels your motivation when you have doubters.
Even one of my new friends, Chris Massaro, on Friday night when we were watching the games, he was like, I don't know why Matt's so hard on you. He's like, you got a shot. He believed in me.
He didn't say that.
He did, or something to that extent.
No, he didn't.
You what, dude? I promise you, he gave me some motivation. I promise you, he gave me something. Although I was a couple in, and I was very much angry.
I said it was a race for second place, and you were leading the race for second place.
Right. If you're betting on baseball, make sure you're getting the best odds at ProfitX. ProfitX, the first peer-to-peer sports exchange in the U.S., available in 40-plus states. It means you're betting against other fans, not the sports books. Giving you, on average, 10 to 20% better odds. You can even request your own odds. Download ProfitX today and use code VSiN.